The stars burned cold and distant, their light unchanged for millennia. Among them, hidden in the void, a silent observer watched. It had been there for centuries, patient, unmoving, waiting. On the blue-green world below, humanity had finally taken its first trembling steps beyond the cradle. A ship, sleek and proud, pierced the darkness of space. The Odyssey, they called it. A fitting name. Inside the observation deck, Captain Elias leaned against the reinforced glass, his breath fogging the surface for a brief moment before fading. His reflection stared back, tired eyes, a stubble-lined jaw, the weight of command pressing on his shoulders. Behind him, the soft hum of the ship's systems filled the silence. "First official deep space mission," he muttered. "And we're already behind schedule." His second-in-command, Lieutenant Mira, approached, her boots clicking softly against the metal floor. "The last system check took longer than expected," she said. "But we're good now. Engines are stable, life support's optimal." Elias nodded. "Good. Let's hope nothing else goes wrong." Unseen by either of them, something shifted in the void beyond. A flicker of movement, too fast for human eyes to catch. The silent observer adjusted its position, sensors locking onto the Odyssey. It had watched humanity for so long. Their wars, their triumphs, their slow crawl toward the stars. And now, finally, they were here. The Odyssey's engines flared to life, pushing the vessel forward. The crew cheered as the ship broke orbit, leaving Earth behind. They didn't know they were being watched. And the observer? It smiled. The Odyssey shuddered violently as its experimental fold drive engaged, bending space around it. Alarms blared, and red emergency lights bathed the bridge in a pulsing glow. Captain Elias gripped the armrests of his command chair, his knuckles white. "Report," he barked. Lieutenant Myra's fingers flew across her console. "Drive instability, we're experiencing unexpected resistance in the fold field." Elias clenched his jaw. "Engineering, talk to me." Over the comm, Chief Engineer Ravi's voice crackled with static. "Captain, something's interfering with the spatial compression. It's like we're pushing against an invisible wall." The ship groaned, its hull straining under forces it wasn't designed to withstand. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the turbulence stopped. The Odyssey lurched forward, emerging into real space with a jolt. Silence. Then, a chorus of relieved breaths. Elias exhaled slowly. "Status?" Mira scanned the readings. "All systems stabilizing. Full drive intact, but we're not where we're supposed to be." Elias frowned. "What do you mean?" She turned to him, her expression uneasy. "According to the NAV computer, we're in an uncharted system. No records, no beacons, nothing." A chill ran down Elias' spine. The first human ship to attempt interstellar travel, and they were already lost. Outside the Odyssey, space rippled. The observer hovered, unseen, its form shifting like liquid shadow. It had nudged the ship off course, just a little. A test. Humanity had built machines to conquer the void, but they still didn't understand it. Not really. The observer's sensors detected something else, though. Something the humans hadn't noticed yet. Deep in the system's asteroid belt, a structure floated, ancient, alien, and very much not human. On the Odyssey, Ensign Leo, the youngest crew member, squinted at his scanner. Captain? You're gonna want to see this." Elias strode over. "What is it?" Leo pointed at the screen. "There's an energy signature coming from the belt. It's organized. Not natural." Mira leaned in. "Could be a sensor ghost. Radiation playing tricks." Elias stared at the readings. "Or it could be something else." He made a decision. "Adjust course. We're checking it out." The crew exchanged glances but didn't argue. As the Odyssey turned toward the belt, the observer followed, its curiosity growing. Humanity had taken its first step into the stars. Now, they were about to take their second. The asteroid belt loomed before the Odyssey, a graveyard of rock and ice stretching endlessly into the void. But one object stood out, an angular, metallic structure, its surface pitted by eons of micrometeorite impacts yet still unnaturally intact. Captain Elias studied the holographic projection of the alien relic, his pulse quickening. "That's no asteroid," he murmured. Lieutenant Mira adjusted the sensors. No heat signatures, no energy spikes, just that same faint signal. "Whatever it is, it's dormant." Ensign Leo fidgeted in his seat. "Or it was dormant. Our scans might have woken it up." Elias ignored the uneasy murmurs from the crew. "Prep the shuttle. We're going in for a closer look." The observer watched as the humans suited up, their movements clumsy yet determined. It had seen this before, countless species drawn to the relics like moths to a flame. Most didn't survive the encounter. But humanity? They were different. The observer shifted closer. The shuttle detached from the Odyssey, its thrusters flaring as it navigated the debris field. Inside, Elias, Mira, and engineer Ravi monitored their approach. "Structures definitely artificial," Ravi confirmed, running a handheld scanner over the data. "No known alloys match this composition. And the age. Captain, this thing's old. Older than human civilization by a landslide." Mira frowned. "Then why hasn't anyone found it before?" Elias kept his eyes fixed on the viewport. "Because no one's ever been this far out." The shuttle shuddered as it locked onto the structure's surface. A hiss of equalizing pressure, then silence. They were here. Magnetic boots clanked against the alien metal as the team stepped out. Their helmet lights cut through the darkness, revealing intricate carvings, twisting patterns that seemed to writhe under the light. Ravi whistled. "This isn't just a building. It's a message." Elias ran a gloved hand over the symbols. "Can we translate it?" Before Ravi could answer, the ground beneath them trembled. A deep, resonant hum filled the air, vibrating through their suits. Myra's voice crackled over the comms. "We've got movement. The structure, it's powering up." A seam split open in the wall ahead, revealing a yawning darkness. And from within, something stirred. The darkness inside the structure pulsed. Captain Elias instinctively raised his arm, as if that could shield his team from whatever was coming. The beam of his helmet light cut through the black, illuminating jagged edges of machinery, something ancient, something not meant for human eyes. Then, it moved. Not like a creature. Not like a machine. But like liquid shadow given purpose, slithering between the cracks in reality itself. It seeped from the walls, coalescing into a shifting mass in the center of the chamber. Myra's breath hitched over the comms. "What the hell is that?" Ravi's scanner screeched static. No thermal signature. No molecular structure. Captain, it's reading like empty space." Elias took a slow step back. "We're leaving. Now." The thing twitched. A soundless vibration tore through the chamber, rattling their bones inside their suits. The walls shimmered, the carvings peeling away like dead skin, revealing something underneath. Words. Human words. "You should not be here." The observer watched from the void, intrigued. This was new. The relic had never reacted this way before. Back inside the structure, the team froze. The words weren't just etched into the metal, they were bleeding from it, reforming in real time as the thing in the center writhed. Ravi's voice was barely a whisper. "It knows English." Mira grabbed Elias' arm. "We need to go. Now." Elias didn't argue. He signaled for retreat. They barely made it 3 steps before the entrance sealed shut behind them with a deafening clang. The thing stretched toward them, tendrils of darkness splitting the air like cracks in glass. More words formed. "You are early. Then. Or perhaps I am late." Elias' hand hovered over his sidearm. A useless gesture, but instinct demanded it. "What are you?" The darkness shuddered. "A warden. And you are intruders." On the Odyssey, Ensign Leo watched the team's vitals spike. "Captain? Captain, do you copy?" No response. Just static. And beneath it, something almost like laughter. The warden's form rippled, its edges fraying like smoke caught in a sudden wind. The words on the walls melted and reformed, "Faster now. You do not understand what you have done." Elias' grip tightened on his useless weapon. "Then explain it to us." A sound like shattering glass filled the chamber as the warden split, not into pieces, but into countless shifting reflections of itself, each one distorting the light differently. The carvings on the walls bled fresh text, this time in languages no human had ever seen. Then, one phrase in English. "This place is a cage." Myra's breath came in short bursts. "It's not talking about itself." A new tremor shook the structure, deeper this time, hungrier. From somewhere below, something scraped against metal. The warden's fragments shuddered in unison. "It is awakening." The observer finally moved. For centuries, it had watched in silence. But this? This was unforeseen. The thing in the dark was older than stars. And humanity had just knocked on its door. Back in the chamber, Ravi was frantically recalibrating his scanner. "Captain, we've got seismic activity, something's moving beneath us." Massive energy spike. Elias whirled toward the sealed exit. "Can we blast our way out?" Mira was already running diagnostics on her wrist display. "Our tools aren't strong enough to." The floor buckled. Metal screamed as something colossal forced its way upward, warping the chamber like paper. The warden's fragments surged toward the disturbance, merging into a swirling barrier between the humans and whatever was coming. "Run." The single word burned itself into the walls as the warden attacked the floor, tendrils of darkness drilling downward, not to stop the thing beneath, but to delay it. Elias didn't hesitate. "Ravi. Overload your scanner's power core, now." Understanding flashed in Ravi's eyes. He yanked open the device's casing and crossed wires. "Stand back." A deafening crack filled the chamber as the makeshift explosive blew the sealed door off its hinges. The team ran. Behind them, the warden screamed, a soundless, terrible thing, as the floor gave way entirely. Something laughing in the dark followed them out. The shuttle bay doors hissed shut behind them just as the entire alien structure convulsed. Through the viewport, Elias watched as metal plates the size of cities peeled back like flower petals, revealing a swirling darkness beneath, a darkness that stretched toward their fleeing shuttle. "Go! Go!" Elias barked. Mira didn't need encouragement. The shuttle's thrusters flared white-hot as she punched acceleration that made the hull groan. Behind them, the asteroid belt itself seemed to twist, rocks colliding as some unseen force rearranged the debris field into new, unnatural patterns. Ravi clutched his fried scanner like a lifeline. That thing wasn't just trapped down there, he panted. It was asleep. And we. A new voice crackled over the comms. "You rang the doorbell." Every screen in the shuttle flickered to life at once. No static. No distortion. Just perfect, crisp human speech from something that had never been human. Ensign Leo's scream from the Odyssey nearly blew out their eardrums. "It's in our systems." All terminals just lit up with. The shuttle's navigation display reconfigured itself without input. A single line of text appeared where their course projection had been. "Let's play a game." The observer finally acted. Millennia of silent watching ended in an instant as it tore through folded space, arriving between the shuttle and the Odyssey in a flash of distorted gravity. To human eyes, it would look like a sudden stellar anomaly, a patch of space that bent wrong. But the thing from below? It recognized the observer. And it laughed. Inside the Odyssey, chaos reigned. Every screen showed the same looping footage, ancient star maps being eaten by crawling darkness. Leo slammed his fists against frozen controls. Engines offline. Comms jammed. We're sitting ducks out here. A new alert screamed across the main display. Incoming transmission, source unknown. The crew watched, helpless, as the video feed resolved into a perfect replica of Captain Elias' face, except the eyes were all wrong. Too many colors. Too many pupils. "Hello, little flies," said the thing wearing Elias' smile. "Shall I show you why your warden was so afraid?" The screen split. The right side showed their shuttle desperately racing toward them. The left side showed the asteroid belt, except now the rocks were moving in unison, forming a vast, spiraling symbol that hurt to look at. Then the Odyssey's external cameras caught it, a distortion field erupting between them and the shuttle. The false Elias tilted its head. "Oh? You're still here?" Space ripped. The observer shed its cloak of silence, reality warping around its true form, a shimmering lattice of impossible angles, glowing faintly like drowned starlight. The thing wearing Elias' face on the Odyssey screens froze mid-sentence. It hissed through every speaker at once. The Watcher. In the shuttle, Elias watched the distortion field expand. "Mira," he said quietly. "Whatever happens next." The universe screamed. The trapped thing tore free of its prison at last. The asteroid belt dissolved into a storm of black tendrils, weaving together into something vast and hungry. The false star maps on the Odyssey screens burned away, revealing the truth. This wasn't just a creature. It was an idea. One that consumed civilizations. "You cannot stop me this time, Watcher," it boomed across the void. "They woke me. Their fault. Their fate." The observer did not speak. It didn't need to. It simply unfolded. Light bent wrong as two ancient forces collided. The shuttle tumbled wildly as gravitational waves battered it. Ravi vomited in his helmet as the laws of physics twisted around them. "Look!" Mira shouted. The Odyssey's engines flared to life, not by human hands, but by the observer's will. Leo's voice crackled over the comms, "We've got control. Systems coming back online." Elias stared at the warping space between the ships. "It's helping us?" The observer's voice, when it came, wasn't sound. It was understanding, planted directly into their minds. "Run. Now." The thing from below howled in rage as the Odyssey's fold drive spun up. The observer wrapped itself around both human ships like a shield, its form fraying at the edges as it held back the darkness. Mira didn't hesitate. She punched the shuttle's thrusters, screaming toward the Odyssey as its hangar bay doors opened. Behind them, the thing that called itself Fate stretched, its tendrils cracking like whips against the observer's failing light. "You cannot save them forever," it roared. "They will wake others. They always do." The shuttle crashed into the hangar just as the Odyssey's fold drive engaged. The last thing Elias saw before space folded was the observer's light. Shattering. Silence. Then sunlight. The Odyssey tumbled into normal space near Pluto, alarms blaring. Leo sobbed with relief. "We're home. Oh God, we're home." Elias stared at the blank view screen. Something wet dripped down his cheek. At what cost? Mira checked the sensors. No pursuit. No, nothing. Just us. Ravi whispered what they were all thinking, it sacrificed itself. Far behind them, in the uncharted dark, a single spark of light flickered weakly. Still watching. Still waiting.